Hades is a game that is all about dying over and over again and having to start afresh over and over again as your heart breaks over and over again. Much like being in love. Have you ever noticed how love and dying have so much in common? And have you ever noticed how everyone in Hades is, well, so weirdly attractive? Like, who thought that being trapped in an endless cycle of death and despair could be so sexy? So, I'm here to ask the question, who is the most dateable in Hades? Now then, I'm not determining the dateability-ness factor of these individuals based on their in-game, flawless pieces of beauty. Because, obviously, the winner would just be Charon. He's a really good boy, and he owns his own boat. No, instead, I'm going to be reading up on the deep Greek lore and mythos of these ancient Greek gods. Now, don't worry, you may be fearing that this is just an excuse to dress up in a toga or like a crudely folded bedsheet. Goodness no, I do not have the body positivity to do that sort of thing. Look at these individuals, they're hard, chiseled pieces of rock. Like literally, they're carved out of stone and marble. Is there any major criteria or anything like that for determining this? Not really, like I'm no expert on love. So what we're gonna do is just, feel it out. See where the mood takes us. And in this instance, the mood takes us straight to our first bachelor, the king of the gods himself. It's Zeus. Now then, as the god of thunder and lightning and having the divine power of the lightning bolt, that he might be able to bring that little extra spark to your relationship. Plus, he's a man of power. As the king of the gods, he should be easily able to sweep you off your feet. No, Zeus is not a good dating partner. For starters, well, he's had numerous previous love interests. Now, I'm not saying it's bad. You can have as many past partners as you possibly want. However, when two of them are your sister, one was your mother, several of them were at the exact same time. Like one time he was a swan. It's kind of weird. It's kind of messed up. Zeus is a vengeful individual, which can be great because it just means he'll smite any who ever wrong you. However, when you inevitably break up with him over text because he's gone on yet another nighttime jaunt to whatever queen just happens to be nearby at the time, get ready to be strapped to a rock for all eternity and have your liver eaten out by birds. Because turns out, the fire that you stole was the fire in his heart. Let's dive headfirst into Zeus's older brother. He's always wet. It's Poseidon. As the god of the sea, he will always be ready to take you on those summer getaways to the beach. And with a little known affinity for horses, he'll unleash the inner horse girl you never knew you had. Plus, with a nickname like the Earth Shaker, well, let's just say the Earth isn't the only thing that's going to be shaking tonight, if you know what I mean. Sadly, apples are a bunch of apples. Zeus and Poseidon are very much the same individual, and when you're the unsuccessful brother, it changes you. He is someone who is constantly lost in his life. He lost at overthrowing his cooler younger brother. He lost at trying to win the hearts of an entire town. Athens to Athena. That's why it's called Athens and not Poseidon Land, the land of Poseidon, who is a totally cool dude and who everyone loves, and the ocean definitely isn't salty from his tears, so just shut up. Because that just doesn't quite roll off the tongue that well. Poseidon hates losing. Every time you beat Poseidon, every time you outsmart Poseidon, every time you win at your couple's board gaming evening, there will be a level of tension on that table that the others just really weren't ready for when they asked you round. Sure, he's fertile as all heck. Sure, he's got that palace full of gems. However, much like the ocean itself, it is chock full of the microplastics of emotional baggage, and it's killing your relationship. Next on our journey down the river of love is the goddess of love itself, Aphrodite. Were you enchanted by her beauty? Or simply just enchanted in general? Aphrodite's penchant for love and passion always keeps her active during the night times, if you know what I mean. Sex. The wings of her doves won't be the only thing all aflutter when this goddess of love comes knocking at your door. But let me tell you something, Aphrodite, she's really petty. When you inevitably have an argument, we all have them, it's fine. It'll probably be about the thermostat and what rating it should be on. It's 22, by the way. If you're cold, just put a jumper on, Aphrodite. It's not that difficult. But when you inevitably have this argument, Aphrodite takes things to another level. Like the island of Lemnos, she will punish you in the only way she knows, making you stink by removing all the cleaning products. But it's the modern age now, Aphrodite. You can keep hiding the cleaning products, but they're not in short supply. I can just keep buying them. Eventually, you're gonna run out of hiding spaces, Aphrodite. The shops aren't gonna run out of cleaning products. Then who'll be laughing, huh? Then who'll be laughing? Also, Aphrodite is hungry for compliments. Don't get me wrong, we all like to hear nice things said about us every now and then, like, hey, you're looking kinda nice today. But Aphrodite, when presented with an apple that simply read the words, cutie pie, well, she took things to the next level. By which I mean, she started a war between the Greeks and the Trojans, and to be honest, that's the sort of stress that I don't think most relationships can really handle. Next up, she's so good that they named a city after her. It's Athena. Athena is the goddess of wisdom, and isn't that what we want? She's so smart and wise, she'll always have a conversation topic for all occasions. Not to mention that her knack for weaving and knitting means there will always be a warm, comfy blanket for you to have long conversations under, all night long. Plus, she has a fondness for the hero, the plucky underdog. That means there'll always be a new Netflix show for you two to binge watch, or a young adult novel with a plucky teenage protagonist for you to get into. Oh, what's this? A teenage girl and a skeleton detective? I mean, sure, it sounds kind of weird, but if you're into it, I'm into it too, I guess. You know, it seems nice like this. But also, where do all these animals keep coming from, Athena? I know my mother gifted you that jumper because she knew you're into knitting. Why is there now a giant monster spider in the hallway? Where are all my loved ones going, Athena? What are you doing to them? They say love is a battlefield, so who better to have than our next bachelor? It's Ares. Now, this god represents the primal carnage of warfare. Meaning, after a long day's work, he'll burst open the door, stomp up the stairs, sweep you off your feet, and just ravage you all night. However, don't buy into Ares thinking you're getting a bad boy. This isn't no William Smith from the film The Bad Boys. No, Ares is just kinda mean. Turns out, Ares isn't actually that popular. Like, his own father told him to his face that if it were not for the fact they're by blood, he'd really hate him. And yes, his refusal to go to therapy is probably what leads to a lot of his violent tendencies. But at the same time, whose fathers haven't said that to them in their lives, am I right? Who among us can say that? For you see, much like a bronze urn, Ares is hollow, and is nothing but a cold, hard exterior brought about through years and years of unresolved issues. And he's trapped inside. But who knows, if you can get over his horrible exterior and the many, many crimes committed in his name, maybe you can make this relationship work. You know what they say, the couple that war crimes together commits war crimes together. It's time to sit back with a nice drink. The drink that is Dionysius. The god of the vine and the god of the wine. Dionysius has impeccable taste. He's always willing to stay up all night having a nice dance, and he always knows where to find these obscure, indie, independent, and niche restaurants. And he's not like all the other gods. He's basically the sort of male manic pixie dream girl that we all want. Or Kevin Bacon in Footloose. Dionysius has travelled the land, he's lived an interesting life, and he has seen the world, meaning he's always got new and interesting ideas for you to experience and enjoy. And some of those involve the bedroom. Are those the arrows of Cupid I hear? Or just the arrows of our next goddess, Artemis? She is the goddess of the wild and the hunt, an athletic sort that will always be up for long runs and outdoor activities. And her fondness for hunting and going outdoors means there's always time for her to get well acquainted with the curves of your bow and the shaft of your arrows. But while Artemis may seem like this kind and loving doctor, curing the ill, helping the infirm, she's also a total black widow. So, on your next hunting trip, you better be careful, because you are one simple hunting accident away from going downtown to Death Town. Population? Your relationship. Demeter is the goddess of the harvest and grain. A countryside kind of gal, her eyes are always to the fields and the agricultural kind of life. Her fondness for the fields means she's always got ample supply to bake up new and exciting treats. And if you're looking for that quieter life away from the buzz of the big city lights, then Demeter is the girl for you. And who knows, maybe one day she'll take you for a roll in the hay. But while Demeter may giveth with bountiful bread, she also taketh away with yet another fad diet that she's come across. What does this one involve? Not eating anything at all? Demeter, I need my food. Where has all the food gone, Demeter? What have you done with all the food? Demeter, this famine is starving us. I don't just mean physically. He's fast on his feet, but let's hope that's the only thing he's fast at. It's Hermes. As the messenger god, Hermes is always busy and is a man of business. His high-flying life sees him in the favour of everyone, jetting around from place to place, and he's living the sweet life. As he's whisked away on yet another far-flung adventure, who knows, maybe he'll also whisk you off of your feet. But you know what they say, for every great fortune, there's an even greater crime. And this Prince of Thieves thrives in the greatest crime of them all. Capitalism. Now yes, I get it, we all partake in capitalism, there's no escaping it. However, the obsession Hermes has with following the latest trends, working hard and investing in the latest tech startups, will rapidly see that your couple turns into a throuple, and you really don't want to be the bridesmaid when Hermes eventually just marries his job. Would you look at that? We're 20 minutes into a video and we're barely even halfway through our sexy bachelors. Oh god! So, let's now move from the lofty heights of Olympia to something more underground. That's right, we're going chthonic. And we're going to start with the head honcho himself, Hades. As the god of the underworld, he is basically the manager or CEO of the afterlife. And at the House of Hades, he always aims to please his guests and customers, so expect to always feel welcome in his company and his embrace. Hades does have attachment issues though, for you see, once you enter his house, you can never leave. It'll start out as something simple, you know, sending you a text message when you've taken a bit too long to go and get some milk because of, I don't know, you're stuck in traffic or something. But before you know it, he'll be following you from room to room, just to make sure you've not run away. It's perfectly normal. Not to mention, the one time you don't say goodnight to him, he will take it as a personal slight, even though we are talking literally all the time. So it's like a continuous dialogue, and maybe I just don't need to say it anymore because we've transcended that. And like, I don't know, I just need some space right now, just some me time, please, for once. You'll be up all night with this spirit of the night. It's Nyx. Now, Nyx is the goddess of the night, or the personification of the night. She is the night. She'll take you out all night and you'll see the city like you've never seen it before. Secret night markets, hidden concerts. Nyx lives for the eerie pleasantness that only a nighttime stroll can bring. And who knows, maybe one day she'll find something else that you two can do with your night that involves staying in. She's also feared by all. She has an indomitable presence that is both terrifying and alluring. And you can always know deep down that she always truly cares for you, more than you are scared of her, which I think is how bears work as well. This one will be with you until your end. It's Thanatos, the god of death, or more so the personification of death itself. He is an unstoppable force that no one can ever truly escape. Not to mention, he's totally tall, dark and handsome. An alternative goth type. He's always ready to fight the world and give out a harsh, cutting remark here and there, and taking no quarter from any of those disgusting normies. They say until death do us part. But what if death were to just do you? Thanatos is neither cool nor mysterious. While yes, his mean, bad boy attitude might appeal to you at the beginning, before you know it, you'll realize that those mean comments are just mean and unnecessary. You'll be looking for a nice compliment on your latest haircut, and instead, you'll get some dark and moody comment about, well, the only thing that actually needs to be cut is himself, and like, we get it, Thanatos, you think you're cool and dark and moody. You're not. It's okay to like things every now and then. Try liking yourself sometime. You better make sure there's always a bed nearby with this one, because we've got Hypnos. As the personification of sleep, he spends his entire day putting those around him to sleep. So he has a high-paying job as an anaesthetist. Not to mention, he always has at the ready one of those calming, pleasant chamomile teas for when you've had one of those long, stressful days at work. Sure, his bed may be luxurious, but he's well aware that sleeping isn't the only thing you do in a bed. He's also boring. Great, he puts people to sleep for his job. He also puts you to sleep all the time. While yes, it can be nice and relaxing to just have those quiet moments, you still need that spark in your relationship. You can't just sit and binge watch Netflix forever and call it a relationship. And not to mention, like, oh my goodness, Hypnos, if you continue to just talk about your work all the time, I swear to goodness, I will be going to bed early. What do you mean that's exactly what you want? Gaze upon the unknowable with chaos. Now, chaos is less of a being and more of the sort of state of the universe before there was a universe. This sort of unknowable existence before existence that didn't exist because there was no existence. This primordial essence that just is completely undefinable. And what's not attractive about the unknown? With a name that's derived from the word and verb, to gape. Well, need I say more? Yes, I need say more. If you put your dick into this gape, who knows what will happen? You'll create an entirely new universe or something. Except you won't, because you don't exist. In a relationship, both members need to be emotionally available, and chaos neither has emotions nor can ever be available to you, for while you exist, it can't, and vice versa. Not to mention that, like, trying to have sex with it, or I guess, like, trying to have sex with a vacuum cleaner, which 10 out of 10 doctors do not recommend. Next up, we've got 3 sisters for you to choose from. Megara, Alecto, and Persephone are each one of 3 Furies, who are essentially the jailers of the underworld. And that's a respectable living, there's nothing wrong with that. And who knows, maybe they'll bring their work home one day for some after dark fun. Ha 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 ha, no. The Furies are literally demons. Megara is there to punish those that break their word. And like, sure, I said I was going to take the bins out. And yeah, sure, I didn't take the bins out. But I hardly see that this is a reason to flay me alive for. Alecto is there to punish those who make crimes of temperament, those who get angry. And like, sure, I shouted quite loudly when I stubbed my toe on the table. I hardly see how this is worth getting flayed alive for. And Sisyphus is there to punish the murderers. And sure, I killed all those people. But I hardly see why that's worth me getting flayed alive for. The Furies are constantly furious. They're always angry and judging you for every minor misdemeanor and every small fault you ever do. And that's not really conducive to a healthy relationship. I'm looking at you, Persephone. Just cut me some slack. Who's that floating down the river of love? It's Charon. Now, Charon is the ferryman of the river Styx. It's a river that passes through Hades, the realm, and Charon operates a little boat that takes the souls of the undead into hell. He's a public transport worker. What's not more respectable than working in public transport? It's a respectable job, and none are more respectable than Charon himself. And who knows, maybe one day he'll take you for a ride. A tall, dark and stoic type, he's a man of few words, and yet it suits him just fine. He's a kind and gentle soul who really knows when it's time to step up as a ferryman and just let people ride free. He just wants to get people to where they need to be. Finally, we've got the man of mystery himself, Zagreus. Now, Zagreus is the underworld god of hunting and rebirth, so he's always willing to take you on those long mountain getaways. Not to mention, he's highly dependable and always believes in second chances. That's pretty much it. Not to mention, as he's the sort of son of the, head of House of Hades, he's essentially just waiting to eventually take over the family business, as it were. But in the meantime, maybe you can get down to business with him. But wait a minute. Do we really even know who Zagreus is? He's always carrying around 2 different phones, which always seemingly have 2 completely different set of contacts on. Mysterious letters keep turning up that seemingly aren't addressed to him, and half of his friends call him Dionysius, which definitely wasn't the name he told you. Do you even really know anything about him? Sure, the sense of mystery was tantalizing at first, but suddenly those mountain retreats are seeming a lot more ominous. It's fine though, he's just outside hunting, what could possibly go wrong? But who's that knocking on your door? That's right, it's more hot singles in your area. Good. However, these aren't any divine, holy beings. No, these are just your normal, everyday mortals, monsters, and other such creatures. And they're all single and ready to mingle. And also they're all pretty much mostly dead. He's the himbo that we all love to love. It's Achilles, the great hero, the big name on campus. Flawless muscles, flawless skin, flawless flowing hair, the strong, musky smell of pure manliness. Achilles has led an interesting life, and part of this is down to the various world teachers he's had throughout his youth. He just has this weird allure that you just can't quite place your finger on. And who knows, maybe one day he'll let you handle his spear. However, this immaculate piece of meat does not shut up about its sporting injury. Sure, we get it, you hurt your ankle quite badly. Shut up about it. You know what, I understand. We gave you a lot of attention and concern, and we cared for you so much when it happened. But you can't make an entire personality out of it. Move on. The rest of us have. Perhaps rolling into our hearts, we have Sisyphus. Sisyphus is a king of sorts. With his eye on commerce and travel, he managed to rise to the lofty heights of Big Billy Billionaire. Meaning, well, there's going to be gifts galore lying in wait for you. As the head of a travel company, it means there will be countless trips to the far reaches of the world. And who knows, maybe on one of these trips, he'll finally give you his very special gift. However, Sisyphus doesn't stop talking about how he's cheating death and gaining loads of money through his strict workplace rules. Like, we get it, you're doing a loss of insurance fraud. I don't want to go to jail with you for being an accomplice, because I don't really fancy my chances spending every day for the rest of my life handling rocks in the yard. Is he cracking wise, or is he just cracking his bones? It's Scaly. Now Scaly is a skeleton. He's just a skeleton. Maybe he'll give you his bone. He's also a skeleton, so he's going to be terrible at giving any form of nice, comforting hug. You're going to have to make him wear so many jumpers to try and stop all those pointy ribs and bones and elbows from getting through when you just want a nice evening cuddle after a hard day's work. Next up, we've got a recently split couple who are each looking to move on. First and foremost, we have Orpheus, a legendary poet and musician. You just can never help but listen to the songs he's singing and getting lost in that sweet symphony that comes out of his voice. He's always ready and willing to serenade you, and you know that when you gather around that campfire, he'll have more up his sleeve than simply just playing Wonderwall. And maybe one day you two can sit down and finally make some sweet music together. He also has trust issues. Sure, we all have those moments of deep-seated self-doubt. But with Orpheus, it's to another level. He will never truly believe that you actually love him. When you're walking through a crowded place, he'll be constantly looking back to just make sure you've not run off and make sure you've not abandoned him. Going to hell and back sounds a lot less impressive for your relationship when you constantly need reassurances about it. Then we have Eurodice, a wood nymph and the previous muse of Orpheus. She's a loving, kind, and trusting soul. And well, to be honest, she's taken this breakup really well. She's just looking to move on and meet new people. And to be honest, that's entirely respectable. Not to mention that she knows the true killing intent of those godless killing machines, snakes. 3 heads are better than 1 when it comes to Cerberus. Cerberus is a dog, and you cannot date nor a dog. A solid companion, yes, as a friend. But this isn't the video called Who Would Make the Bestest Friends in Hades? No, not at all. What? Why are you still here? I said no, stop it, move on. Stop looking at him. No, stop. She's moving up in the world. It's Persephone. As the goddess of vegetation and greenery, Persephone always has a green thumb or two. But don't let this green garden-loving gal deceive you, because underneath there is a love for the underworld that you can't even begin to imagine. However, Persephone also owns 2 homes. which is pretty bad in of itself. But she also exclusively spends half the year in one home, half the year in another, which could be a great opportunity for traveling maybe, get the local culture, really live a unique life. But when she is in each of these homes, it's like she's a completely different person. In one, she is a garden-loving, green-thumbed wonder who's always happy and filled with spider plants. In the other though, she's the queen of the underworld. And to be honest, leading this double life is exhausting on your relationship. Look, Persephone, at one point you need to explain to your friends your love of window boxes. I'm sure the mafia will understand. We've got another warrior in our midst. It's Patroclus. Patroclus, he is another strong, muscled warrior from the same gym as Achilles. However, I'm fairly certain he's not over his relationship with Achilles, because, well, anytime you spend with him, all he does is talk about Achilles. Like, all the cute things they would do together, the way the light would hit Achilles' eyes. It's okay to sometimes mention an ex in a relationship, but when you talk about an ex so much, well, I'm beginning to get the feeling that maybe you're not over them, and maybe starting a new relationship is not really that good of an option for yourself. You're clearly still in love with Achilles, Patroclus. Sort that out. Is that a snake in her hair, or is she just pleased to see you? It's Medusa. Now, Medusa is a gorgon, but she wasn't always this way. It's important to look beyond people's pasts and how they shaped them, and look into the future and what this person could be. Not to mention that Medusa's got those looks that when you finally gaze into her eyes, she's gonna stop you in your tracks. Also, she's really into snakes. It's weird. She keeps on getting them out and just letting them run through her hair, or whatever snakes do. Slither, I guess. They're godless killing machines. Disgusting. Ugh. Weird. Icky. Gross. Being into snakes is just kind of weird, and constantly getting them out is weird. Be into something cool. I don't know, like cats. Cats are cool. That's why they call them cool cats and not cool snakes who are slithering around like weirdos. Ugh. Not to mention, whenever you're trying to have a nice little cuddle, she's going like, oh, what if we get the snakes out to have a cuddle as well? I get that they just want to cuddle as well. They're constricted. It's how they kill to eat me. Then we have the golden boy himself, Theseus. Oh, one moment. I'm happy to announce that two of our bachelors, Theseus and the Minotaur Zagreus, well, they've only gone and hooked up backstage and have formed a long and compassionate, long-lasting relationship. Isn't that nice, everyone? So that's it. What did we learn? Well, realistically, it was just that maybe fictional deities and fictional creatures who are mainly incorporated in storytelling to give moral lessons primarily through the medium of punishment for doing wrong, don't make good dating prospects because of all the punishment involved. But there are some good ones, you know, there's still hope, because that just goes to show that while you may be surrounded by ruthless, terrible individuals, there will always be a few nice and loving seeds to sow some hope into your eyes. And hey, maybe instead of looking upon the gods for romantic advice and sex, you could look a little closer to home. Also, actually physically gazing upon the gods, kind of like in their true form, kind of kills you instantly. I think you like explode or something. So that's also like probably why you shouldn't be looking to date a lot of these, because exploding. Probably should have mentioned at the very beginning. Ooh. Hello, thank you for watching my video. It was a video about things. If you liked it, why don't you let me know by liking the video, leave a comment about who you would most want to maybe go on a romantic trip with in the game. Hades, or if you think there's anyone that they horrifically missed out in including in the repertoire of sexy gods in the game, Hades, then also why don't you let me know in the comments? I love that shit. Much like I love Nyx. She's hot. Anyway, oh god, what have I done? There are other videos I've made. One which is about the board game Valley of the Kings. And another, which I should have probably mentioned first, is about the video game Hades. An actual vague review. You should probably also look at that. Anyway, or you could click on my face where there's a face orb to subscribe. This is, oh, I've really lost track of where I'm going. Thank you, and goodbye.